Welcome into my world. You're playing my game. Thought that you could come up and fitting off of my knee. Talking out the side of your neck like you're insane. Cortisol levels to the roof, inflame. Kids these days so shameless. Selling out real friends for a paycheck. Mama didn't teach them no home training. Wanna be me so bad, but they failing. Step to the plate though. I'll take a challenger. I ain't scared of no low life scavenger. I should warn you though, if you haven't heard, I know Colleen, ukulele ballanger. Shots been fired. Wanna tell that? Say it to my face though. Now behind my back. Won't be long till you share it in the group chat. And when I call you up, you gonna backtrack. And you should've kept my name out your mouth. That's though how it all turned out. When you try to use my name for clout, keep on going. Give me something you can talk about.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Hello, everybody. How are you doing this fine Thursday, January 29th, 2026? So, as usual, I waited a few days to start talking about this story. I wanted to kind of see where it was going to lead and things like that. And I'm ready to talk about it. Okay. So one thing I just want to get out of the way, my hair is still wet. So, yeah, anyway, I don't know why y'all need to know that, but that's why it kind of looks like that. Cause I can't separate the little waves yet because it's wet and then it's going to poof up. I mean, put a one in the chat if you know the struggle. Shout out to Birmingham Leprechaun. Haven't seen you in the chat in a while. Shout out. Who's in here? Tequila over the rainbow. KJ, Jackie, Lynn. Hello, hello, hello. Come in. If you wouldn't mind doing two things for me as a favor, if you wouldn't mind, please do like the video and make sure you didn't get unsubscribed. You know, that's been going on lately. Okay. So without further ado, we are going to talk about this case here. 15-year-old young man, Thomas Medlin. He is still missing. He was first reported missing, or I should say he was last seen officially on January 9th. That was 20 days ago, almost 3 weeks ago. More than 2. So this is him right here. And by all accounts, he was a good kid, really smart, really talented, proficient in a lot of things, bright future ahead of him. And it caught my attention a few days ago because not only is it, of course, tragic because of the missing child, but there was some stuff being said about maybe he was missing after going to meet somebody he originally made contact with, or that made contact with him on ROBLOX. So I have been trying to rally the troops against ROBLOX for, I don't know, at least a year. I don't exactly even know. Shout out to Louisiana Cousins in the chat. Hello. Hey, Lindsay. Okay, so that really caught my attention. The thing about like the ROBLOX. He allegedly, according to news reports, investigators, and his mother, he was going to meet someone that in person that he had met online on specifically ROBLOX. Well, we do have some updates, not only from ROBLOX making a statement, but also the police have made a statement in reference to the whole ROBLOX of it all. So, I am going in somewhat of an order, but I don't know. I'm not sure this is like the best order to go in. We're going to start here. This was the original kind of like initial press release that was put out by the Suffolk Police Department. So this is all happening in New York, not New York City, although he was the last seen in New York City. He's not from Manhattan. He's from Long Island. So this was the original press release from the authorities. It says incident, St. James teen missing, date Friday, January 9th, 2026. Thomas Medlin, 15 years old, of St. James, left the Stony Brook School on Friday, January 19th at approximately 3:30 p.m. and ran. Okay, so he leaves school. It's Friday afternoon. He leaves school 3:30 and ran to the train station. That was the Stony Brook train station. He was last seen at Grand Central Station, which is a long way away. Okay, I do have a picture I want to show y'all in a moment. But like this, so 2 hours go by and he is seen at another train station, this time, yes, in Manhattan. And it was 5:30 p.m. that same day, January 9th. 5'4". It says he's white, but it does appear as though he is biracial. I don't know. I mean, look, race is all just kind of made up, in some ways anyway. But um, they're saying he's white. It does appear that his dad is white, but it appears his mom is I am assuming Chinese, because she was talking about how Thomas knows how to, or is learning how to speak and write Chinese, but I don't exactly really know. But it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really exactly matter, other than like, if you see this kid, just be aware, like if he appears to you to be, Asian, he does appear to be biracial. So yes, the authorities have not announced officially finding him yet, but I do believe that we do have a theory in the works, and that's why I did put in the title of this video, is it solved? So let's finish reading this original initial public press release to the public, right? 15, St. James, he left, he ran. Okay, he's 5'4", about 130 pounds. He was last seen wearing a black jacket with red stripes, dark sweatpants with white stripes, and a black backpack. He also was wearing glasses, and he appeared to be holding a large object in his hands. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Thomas Medlin, the teenager, is asked to contact 4th Squad detectives at 631-854-8452 or call 911. Okay, so that was the first press release. That was the first kind of like, okay, alert, alert, missing child, help us find him. Well, since then, a lot of information has come out. So, let me see which link. I'm just trying to decide which link I want to show y'all next. I'll show y'all this next. This is his missing persons poster. So this is the website for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So this is the national, where you report a child missing, the national one. We have seen this website before. We have talked about this website before in this specific organization in 2 instances. One, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, she was listed on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's website. And so was Nova from Soft White Underbelly and No Jumper, Tania's daughter, Nova. She has also been listed on this National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And now we do have a listing for Thomas, who has been missing for quite a while for a young man. And I do want to remind y'all, and maybe just tell you for the first time in case you didn't know, we have really been having some very extreme weather in the United States, particularly in the eastern half of the United States, the southeast, even the northeast for sure. I mean, we've had blizzards, we've had record snowfall. Where I live is about, I don't know exactly how many miles or anything like that, but it's about an hour drive away from New York. And so it has been absolutely brutal, frigid, and unforgiving outside. It's about 3 feet of snow in my front yard right now. I mean, it's like not even really an exaggeration, maybe a foot. It might be like a foot or a foot and a half, but like it's at least a foot. And it's been hard to drive. It's been hard to even, at sometimes it's hard. You can't drive at all because it's like blizzards. So, all of that weather has really happened since Thomas Medlin went missing. And so it's hard to imagine how he would have stayed out of the elements, and things like that, or how he would have survived the elements had he been outside, or had he still been outside. I mean, let me just look at like the temperature, just like right now in New York. It's 20 degrees Fahrenheit. What is that Celsius? Got to be close to zero. -7. -7 degrees Celsius. Okay. 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's cold. It's been really cold, and a lot of snow, sleet, wintry mix, etc., etc. Well, then it started to be reported after January 9th. The original press release that we just read, that was from January 12th. So a few days did go by from the last time he was seen, from the last time he was seen to when they put the flyer out, it was like 3 days or whatever. And then after the flyer came out, then a few news stations started to interview Thomas's parents. Now, the parents came out and did a few interviews, like I said, and a notable interview that his mother did was with the local Long Island news, and it was News 12. And she said that he has never ever left them. This was really out of character for him. He's a good child. He has they've restricted his access to the internet. The mom said she would take his phone after like at 10 or 11 o'clock every night. She had the password, she would check it. She thought that Roblox was somehow, where her son Thomas had met this person that he was going to, meet up with in person. She was beside herself. She was very upset. The dad said, I can't believe the reason that he went. And so just the name Roblox started to get thrown around, and allegations that Thomas had met this person, this mystery person, on or through Roblox. Now, the mom also did mention Discord, which we will get into, but I mean, I entirely rebuke Discord entirely. But it was interesting to me that the mother had said, we restrict his social media. He doesn't even have social media. He's a good kid. He's world traveled. He's very responsible. He's very respectful. She's like, even me sometimes, like I'll be posting stuff online and he'll be telling me, don't post that, mom, because when I apply to college, they're going to look at your Facebook. Like that is one thing I was talking to one of my friends literally yesterday about last night. We're both millennials, but I think it's important to kind of say, which generation I am, because it's relevant here. We were talking about how, we're kind of like one of the few generations that was like before computers, and then we can kind of really remember it. And we a lot of millennials remember getting that first computer in the house. Whereas Gen Z, which is only one generation after millennials, they have no such memory. Maybe a few of the very, older Gen Zs, like the cuspy ones or whatever, but when we were growing up, we were the millennials, we were like, busting it wide open, dropping down and getting our Eagle on for the 99 and the whole entire 2000. Okay. So we were not like looking over our shoulder at every single, you can't say that because the colleges are you can't do the colleges. And like now we do. Now we know that the FBI and the CIA and everybody and their mama and Mossad and everybody damn else can probably look at our phones and probably, look through our cameras at any moment that they want to. We all know that now. But I can't imagine growing up in a surveillance state. I just can't. And it has to be some like type of unbearable pressure. And I mean, Gen Z is not even the most recent generation. We got a whole nother one, Gen Alpha. And God, Lord, pray for them. But the point is, like, even Thomas, according to his mom, he would be very careful about things being said online, about social media. And it was because of his future. He's worried about his future. So, okay. So also the guy from To Catch a Predator, who is Chris Hansen, and he also has been working with Schlepp in like his lawsuit and stuff against Roblox. So Chris Hansen is kind of involved in this Roblox investigation. He also interviewed the mom. So I may pull that video up in a moment as well. But we do have some breaking kind of like news as of yesterday. And this is what really prompted me to want to make this video. So this is people.com. I am going to turn on the reader view, but we have some new evidence. So new evidence shows boy who disappeared after traveling to New York City 2 weeks ago was last seen on bridge over water. Thomas Medlin was 15, last seen on January 9th. That's him right there. Thomas vanished after traveling into Manhattan from his Long Island, New York school on January 9th. His mother previously said she believed he was heading into the city to see someone he met on Roblox. But in an update, police say they have not found any proof of that. Okay, so let me switch over to the update. And this is the official police update put out, I believe it was yesterday. And it gives us a little bit of a timeline of Thomas's last known movements. So see, it says update right here. This is the one we already read, right? He was, ran to the train station. 2 hours later, he was spotted in New York City at Grand Central Station about 5:30. And then that was it. We didn't know anything else. Well, now we have a little bit more information about his last known movements. So this was, I believe, posted yesterday. Following an investigation, this is from the cops, including extensive video canvassing, and review of digital evidence. Detectives determined that Thomas's last known location was on the pedestrian walkway on the Manhattan Bridge on Saturday at 7:06 p.m. Okay, so just to, remind you of the timeline, 3:30 p.m., he leaves school and runs to the train station in Stony Brook. That's 3:30. 2 hours later, around 5:30, he's seen at the Grand Central Station. Now, about an hour and a half after that, he is seen again on the Manhattan Bridge. Okay, 7:06 p.m. And then rapid fire, a few things happen. And I think that this might lead to at least some information on what exactly may have happened to Thomas. Now, of course, I am holding out hope that Thomas is alive and well and somehow makes his way back to his family, who is obviously very distraught and wants him back to their house. But it's kind of looking like perhaps that isn't what's going to be the outcome of this story. One more time. January 9th, 3:30, he leaves school. He's seen running to the train station. 2 hours later, he presumably has arrived to his destination in New York City at Grand Central Station. In there, he's holding some large item too. I don't know what that is. Is this a game console? I don't know what it is. So 2 hours later, he's in the Grand Central Station. An hour and a half later, 7:06 p.m., he is seen on the Manhattan Bridge, okay, on the pedestrian walkway. Then what happens after that? 3 minutes later, after he's seen on the bridge, it's 7:09 p.m. That is the last activity on his cell phone. Last activity on his cell phone, 7:09 p.m. And a nearby surveillance camera captured a splash in the water at 7:10 p.m. And the police say he was never seen leaving the bridge. All right. So 7:06, he's on the bridge. 7:09, the last time his phone ever pinged. And 1 minute after that, a splash in the water. Now you might be thinking, well, how do we know that the splash isn't just the phone getting thrown over? Well, that last sentence right there, kind of ominous, huh? He was never seen leaving the bridge via path exits. Now, this does leave room open for many things. He could have gotten into someone's car. They could have thrown his phone off the bridge. I don't know, what's really going on with the investigation. Obviously, the only thing I know is these updates that they've given the public. Thanks so much, Patsy Lover22 for the $5 super chat. Long time no see. Miss all y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Was he being threatened? Was he being blackmailed? I don't know. But we do get another update from the cops. This is the SuffolkPoliceDepartment.org website. Under the issuance of subpoenas. So Roblox got subpoenaed. And not only Roblox, but also Discord and some others. Under the issuance of subpoenas and search warrants, they said an examination so far of multiple social media online gaming profiles and forensic examination of electronic devices associated with Thomas was conducted. This examination has determined these platforms are not connected to his disappearance. Now, here's what I wonder. Let's just, we need to kind of go a little bit word by word on this right here sentence, this paragraph rather. Okay, so they issued subpoenas, they issued search warrants to multiple social media and online gaming profiles. I'm going to say that's probably Roblox and Discord and perhaps others. But they did subpoena Roblox and they did get search warrants. They did a forensic examination of electronic devices associated with Thomas. And according to their investigation, again, they do say so far, the examination determined the platforms are not connected to the disappearance. But here is where I have a question. I don't know. Is this a contradiction? I don't know. I have a question here. His phone presumably would be the most used. His phone would presumably be the most used personal electronic device, right? So they're saying we examined electronic devices associated with Thomas. But you also told me the last activity on his cell phone was January 9th, 7:00 at night. So my question, how did the police get his cell phone, or did they? Did the police actually search his cell phone? Because I don't see how they could have. If the last activity on his cell phone was 7:09 p.m. on January 9th, and then there was a splash in the water and nobody ever heard from Thomas again, either the phone went over or Thomas went over. I mean, that's kind of what I'm feeling led to believe. I don't know if that happened or not. I don't know if any of the stuff they're telling us is true, but Discord, Signal, some of these other apps that I, have heard of and I can't think of at the moment, but WhatsApp, I think even Telegram, all these different apps, like they all have different like privacy and encryption levels of like security and things like that. So if let's say Thomas met someone on Roblox, but then they went off the platform to talk on whatever, Signal or Telegram or WhatsApp or something, and Thomas only ever talked to that person on his own personal cell phone, or God forbid, a burner phone that his parents didn't even know about or something like that, would the cops even be able to find that out? The answer is obviously no. Because even if you have the actual device, if somebody deletes their Signal messages, they're gone forever, from what I understand. I mean, this is at issue in the Blake Lively case right now. Justin Baldoni's lawyer and Jed Wallace, the PR propagandist, in my opinion, were talking on Signal, and they had their messages set up to auto delete. So even though this is from what I understand. Even though they have the phone itself that the messages were sent from, Signal doesn't save the messages, and there's no way to recover them. So yes, as Adele said, Roblox has also claimed that they did an extensive investigation themselves, and they claim in their own obviously best interest that Thomas wasn't directed to another platform. He might not have been directed to another platform on the accounts that they know about. But from what I understand, on Roblox, you can just keep creating accounts. So how do we really know that Roblox actually did find all of the accounts associated with this kid? Apparently his mom thought he had one, but turns out he had 4, maybe he had 5. So Roblox investigating themselves and finding they did nothing wrong does not help me at all, especially considering their conflicts of interest and their long history of now being criminally investigated by entire states. Governments. So they could have possibly found his accounts connected through his devices, but I don't think that's how it works, Eve, sorry. I think that there are different things, different rules, and different mechanisms of how it works for different platforms. So perhaps that could work for like a Facebook or iCloud, but on these apps that are specifically encrypted, privacy concerned data, protect your data, encrypted apps, I think kind of like the whole point of those apps is that they're not discoverable across devices, and that they are supposedly secret, and that they are really difficult to get into those messages. I don't know. So let me finish this update. So the cops so far, and they do say so far, have determined that Roblox and the social media websites are not connected to the disappearance. And I just kind of did tell y'all why it is that I think that is perhaps a flawed conclusion, but I think they do save themselves by saying so far. The press release goes on, or the updated press release goes on. It says there's no indication of criminal activity. Detectives have continuously communicated the department's findings to Thomas's family. The department is continuing to work with law enforcement partners to bring closure to the family. Okay, the fact that they are saying closure to the family indicates to me that the police or the authorities believe that Thomas is no longer among the living. That's what it indicates to me. And then whenever you like closure, not the department is continuing to work with its law enforcement partners to find Thomas. No, that's not what it says. It's to bring closure to the family. Closure means somebody died. Closure means we got to just, get them to accept it that somebody that their son is dead. Now they didn't. I mean, they stopped short, seemingly, of explicitly announcing this, but it does say last known location. Last time he was known to be somewhere was on this bridge at 7:06. 3 minutes later was the last time he ever sent a text. The last time there was any activity. I shouldn't say sent a text because I don't know what he did. Activity on the cell phone could have been I don't know what. Took a picture. I don't know. And then 1 minute later, there was a splash in the water and he hasn't been seen again. So then combine that with bring closure to the family. No criminal activity is suspected. Are they going to try to say this was an accident? Because last I checked, self-deletion in New York is a crime. Let me see if that's true. Promoting a sui blank attempt. Oh my God, y'all. Did you know just last month the medical aid in dying law was passed in New York? I'm very, very scared of those laws. If you've been keeping up with what's going on in Canada, they are literally euthanizing the population in Canada. Do you know that the medically assisted suicide is the number 4 cause of death in Canada? And they just started doing that thing like 10 years ago. The number 4 cause of death in Canada is medically assisted suicide. Did you know that? That is so confusing to me, considering having suicidal thoughts and ideations is a reason to lose your rights in some instances, and it's a crime in some instances. Listen, I try to tell Canadians to stay out of our business. I'm going to try to stay out of Canadians' business. But listen, Canadian cousins, y'all need to watch out for that MAID law. I just read an article earlier today that said they euthanized one lady because she was obese. She had heart problems and obesity. It's getting a lot of hand over here, especially considering it's just so confusing. But anyway, like I said, we're not talking about Canada. We're talking about New York. I don't exactly know. Oh, and another thing too, and this is going to come up in my series. One more thing too. A very large percentage of the people who are on the medical assisted suicide thing in Canada, which can happen quickly. Like you can get it done within a couple weeks. Like you say you want it and you can get it done fast. They're organ donors, like a substantial percentage of the organs that are being harvested from Canadians to go onto the donation list or to go onto the medical research list are coming from these suicide people. So medical aid in dying, whatever it's called in Canada. So it's kind of like, okay, like we're really just euthanizing people for their organs now. Like it's totally Black Mirror 2026. We're here. We've arrived. All right. My organs are not for donation. I just want to let y'all know if anybody tries to take my heart, my lungs, my liver, my kidney and put it in someone else's body, I'm going to shut the kidney down posthumously and I'm going to haunt you. Nobody gets my kidney. If that's selfish, go cry about it on my gravestone where I won't be because I'm getting cremated. Okay. Yes, I'm entitled to be my body, my choice. It doesn't become somebody else's body after I die. Now, if you personally, person watching this video, want to donate your organs that you had to grow yourself, please do be my guest. I ain't going to try and discourage you from doing it, but nobody better take my organs. I'm coming to haunt you. And if you put my organs in somebody, I'm shutting them down. That person's going to die. That person's going to instantly die. So don't do it. Okay. Anyway. Oh, good to know. You can change your organ status online for Ontario. I'm doing that today. EIEI, bro, were you doing that already? Were you doing that already, or are you doing that because of the video I'm just making? I'm just asking because I am making a whole series. I don't put a 2 in the chat. Put a 2 in the chat if you remembered me saying I'm doing an organ harvesting series. That's why I've been looking into this Canada thing. I actually recorded the first 5 episodes yesterday, and we do have 2 more episodes to record. But you know how I did the cloning series? I'm doing an organ harvesting one. Okay, so let me see. What it looks like to me that they're trying to kind of prepare the public for, they're not ready to announce it yet, is that they're going to say that he either accidentally fell off this bridge or he committed an act of self-deletion. Made and being an organ donor is a choice in Canada. Canadians, let me tell y'all something else I found out too. From what I understand, I could be wrong, but from what I understand, and if you're in Canada, you can go and check this out. And if you do, please do update me because I will update it in my series. But from what I understand in Canada, everyone is an organ donor. You have to opt out. You have to opt out of being an organ donor. So I don't know if that's true. Maybe that's just in some of the provinces or whatever. But from what I understand, everybody's an organ donor unless you opt out, which, yep, it is a choice, but I would just be aware of that. Okay. I'm wondering what the large item was. We were just sold to, Gina. Yeah, I know. Again, y'all, correct me if I'm wrong, especially if you live in Canada. But from what I understand here, it looks like they're trying to prepare us to say, he jumped in the water or he fell in the water. The fact that they say no indication of criminal activity either means they're not counting self-deletion as a crime, which I don't know if it is or isn't in the state of New York, but they are also not saying anybody pushed him. It's like either an accident or a self-inflicted thing. The fact that they say, he walked off, he was seen walking onto the bridge. He wasn't seen leaving the bridge. And they're trying to help to bring, quote, closure to the family. All of these things combined lead me to believe that the police officers, the law enforcement officers, believe that Thomas fell or was fell or jumped off the bridge. So, okay, all right. That opens up a whole separate can of worms. Why did this 15-year-old run from his school getting let out on a Friday? This 16-year-old that was apparently concerned about college, apparently concerned about appearances, very smart, very respectful world traveler, apparently from a good home. The parents, tried to monitor and restrict his social media use. How and why did this child run from his school on a Friday afternoon and travel 2 hours on a train to New York City, only to walk to the Manhattan Bridge, only to self-delete? I mean, these are questions that do come to mind. Now, even if this theory that they seem to be trying to push out now is accurate. And I'm saying theory that they're trying to push out, like it's, I'm not suspicious of it. It does seem like, something that could happen, but I do have questions. Like, if you're going to self-delete off a bridge, there's not a closer bridge than Manhattan. I mean, I want to show y'all how far away, maybe the person told him to. Thank you so much, Birmingham Leprechaun, for the $5 super chat. Don't forget UAB in Birmingham and their prison contracts with Alabama prisons and organs. Oh my God, I did forget about that. I don't really remember what that's about. Send that to me if you don't mind, please. Thank you. He could have thought it was the only way out. This is interesting. Just Call Me Aaron said, if he did self-delete, my theory is he got himself into a situation via Discord or something, like a blackmail ring or something, that he calculated he couldn't get himself out of, maybe. And this has happened a lot. Okay, thank God. Okay, thank you. A Obsidian said, I am mistaken. Thank you for correcting. Apparently, no, you are not automatically an organ donor in Canada. Good to know. Good to know. Thank you, Birmingham Leprechaun, as well. Okay. Yeah. Why did he travel so far just to go to a bridge? Yeah, no, I'm not. Nobody's getting no stem cells. Nobody's getting no placentas. Nobody's getting nothing from me. I ain't doing no blood donation. I already did that. Been there, done that. Almost passed out the 2 times I did. I ain't doing that no more either. Unless like, someone close to me, like personally, like needs blood and can't find none, then I might think about it. No one saw him jumping. Well, I mean, I don't know if he jumped, but it does appear as though that's what they're kind of trying to push. All right. So let me pull up the map and just show y'all how far this child would have had to travel. And I mean, I'm not saying like he didn't. He did seem like extremely smart um and capable. I mean, okay. Stony Brook School. Stony Brook High School. The Stony Brook School. Okay. Okay. So this is a far way. Okay. As you can see, I did type in the Stony Brook School and Grand Central Terminal. Now, if you go by bus or transit, it's 2 hours, 48 minutes. And this does make me wonder, is that why he was running? As you can see, there is a train that leaves from the Long Island Railroad station at 3:32, and it does arrive at 5:18 p.m. This is an hour and 46 minutes, and this is about exactly how, I mean, it almost exactly confirms the timeline that's been given to us. He left his school at 3:30. He ran to the train station, and then he was seen about 2 hours later after after arriving and getting off the train. So I'm thinking, this was my first thought too, unsolved. I want to leave that up there for a second. I'm thinking he took this train right here, and it is a 7-minute walk. So he gets out of school at 3:30 and he runs. Okay. And the train leaves at 3:32. So I could see, him running because it was a 7 minutes, but then he wanted to make the train run. And they said about 3:30. So it might have been 3:26, but it would have only given him just like the exact amount of minutes to get there. But then he would have been able to arrive right at that time. So I believe, just putting it out there, he ran specifically to make that train. I think he ran specifically to make that train. Then he would have had to switch over and get on a different train, which would have the purple line, which would have put him there at about 5:20. Now this is today. Like if you wanted to go today, so maybe it was a little bit different, on that day and 20 days ago. But it does put you at Grand Central, and that is where we were told he was. Unsolved Faye, I do just want to say, this is my first thought. My first thought when I heard about the story was this. Don't you think maybe the 764 killer network got to him and maybe got himself into something, or was coerced into harming himself? It totally could have been. Totally could have been. Don't those trains have cameras? I don't know if the trains have cameras or not. Right. So they are known to operate on ROBLOX. Yep. Okay, so let me show y'all a couple other things that I saw. Okay, this is that People magazine article again. Okay, and it's not letting me show the reader. Okay, that's aggravating. All right, hold on. Okay, new evidence shows boy who disappeared after traveling to New York City 2 weeks ago was last seen on bridge over water. So this is the one we already started, so I'm going to just kind of skim through quickly until we get to the part where I hadn't read that part yet. New footage shows missing Long Island teen was last seen on a bridge over a river, according to police. In an update Monday, the Suffolk County Police Department said that as part of their ongoing investigation, which included extensive video canvassing and review of digital evidence, detectives determined that Thomas was last seen on a pedestrian walkway on the Manhattan Bridge, January 9th at 7:06 p.m. Manhattan Bridge spans from Lower Manhattan to downtown Brooklyn, and crosses over the East River. The last activity on his cell phone was 3 minutes later, 7:09 p.m., and a nearby surveillance camera captured a splash in the water. Okay, but how does it capture a splash in the water and not the thing that made the splash? That's what I want to know. No surveillance cameras captured anything that happened to cause the splash. That's just so curious to me, because it's almost like they can find a surveillance camera for freaking anything. If we do something, they can find it on surveillance. Okay, they can find it. There's a flock cam. There is a flock cam somewhere. Somebody's neighbors, somebody's baby's mom's ring camera caught you doing it. Okay, but for some reason, all they caught was a splash here. I think there's more to the story. Police continued, noting the teen was never seen leaving the bridge, although his family previously said they thought their son went into the city to see somebody he met through ROBLOX. In the police update, they said that so far, they haven't found any proof of that. Under the issuance of subpoenas, search warrants, examination so far of multiple social media, online gaming profiles, and forensic examination of electric devices associated with Thomas Medlin was conducted. The examination has determined these platforms are not connected to his disappearance. The police did not mention anything in their update about Medlin being found. Went on to say there's no indication of criminal activity. Detectives have continuously communicated the department's findings to the family. The department is continuing to work with law enforcement partners to, quote, bring closure to the family. So it does seem like the cops are trying to say he's dead. He's no longer among the living. People reached out to the police. They did not immediately respond for comment. And see what he's holding. So he's wearing his jacket and he's holding like it looks like a bag, maybe a bag of clothes. He's got his phone clutched to his waist or his stomach. He's wearing the Under Armour shirt, glasses, coat. And this appears to be appears to have been taken in like an underground train station type thing right there on the near the track. He disappeared on January 9th when he headed to New York City after school. He left his school around 3:30 and, quote, ran to the Stony Brook, Long Island Railroad station, where he seemingly caught a train to Manhattan. He was seen at Grand Central Station about 2 hours later. A photo previously shared by police showed him wearing a backpack and holding a large object while walking on what appeared to be a New York City subway train platform. In a previous statement to People, a spokesperson for ROBLOX said they were deeply troubled by this incident and were working with law enforcement to support their investigation. ROBLOX had no additional comment when reached out to by People again about the latest update from officials. Okay, so I have some more stuff I want to show y'all about this. Let me see the News 12. Okay, this was the exclusive. This came out about 5 days ago? 6 days ago? 4 days ago? 4 days ago. Okay, hold on.
And that includes where he was last seen and a possible link to someone he met online. Well, right now, new details about a missing St. James teen, and that includes where he was last seen and a possible link to someone he met online. News 12's Daniela Rodriguez spoke exclusively with the teen's mom.
Okay, so his mom.
Eva Yan says these textbooks are exactly where her 15-year-old son, Thomas Medlin, would sit at the kitchen table every day.
Need handwriting.
She says he's been missing since January 9th, just after 3 p.m. Police say after leaving school, Thomas came to the Stony Brook LIRR station, boarded a train, and traveled to Grand Central. From there, detectives say they located his phone in Lower Manhattan, and most recently spotted him on surveillance video in Brooklyn.
He has never left us.
Yan says detectives believe Thomas met someone online through the gaming app ROBLOX and was planning to meet that person in the city, something his family says is completely out of character.
Competition.
She says Thomas shines in school, has won several awards for music, art, and sports, but most importantly, she says he has a kind heart.
Everyone loves him.
Family and friends have organized search parties throughout the city and Long Island for weeks. But what worries her most is her son lost in the city ahead of the upcoming storm.
With the weather coming cold, we have to check on the homeless shelter, looking for those locations.
But Yan and her husband say they want their son to know how loved and missed he truly is.
I just can't believe why he left in the first place.
We just want him to be safe.
Police are asking anyone with information to contact Suffolk County Police or call 911. Roblox tells News 12 it is cooperating with police in this investigation and proactively reports any suspected child exploitation to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. In St. James, Suffolk County, Daniela Rodriguez, News 12.
Okay. So, look at him when he was little, cutie, poor thing. Oh my God. So this was an exclusive, they were seeking the public's help. They still are. Police say he traveled to the station. His family says they haven't heard from him since. Missing for 2 weeks. This was, again, like I said, this article and this interview came out about 4 to 6 days ago. Surveillance images captured him. His mom told News 12 in an exclusive interview that detectives now believe her son, detectives believe her son met someone through the online gaming app ROBLOX and was planning to meet that person in the city. But the detectives, as we read earlier, have now updated everybody and said that's not true. They weren't actually able to confirm that Roblox or any of these social media platforms had anything to do with the disappearance. However, like I already pointed out, there's a little bit of a loophole there, which is these messaging apps are often where the kids do go and meet the predators that they meet on Roblox. Then they'll end up over there with on Zangi or Telegram or whatever, and then or Signal, and then at that point their messages can just get deleted. So the cops could presumably, very likely have no idea what had anything to do with anything. Now, Roblox itself has made a statement out on Twitter. So let me pull that up and just let you know what Roblox's side of things is, what their perspective is. This was posted about 3 days ago on their Twitter. They said, "We are deeply concerned. About a report involving a missing child, Thomas Medlin in New York, and our thoughts are with him and his family. When we learned that one of our users was missing, we followed our standard process and immediately began an investigation. We searched for any previous law enforcement inquiries and reached out to law enforcement to offer any support in their investigation. After a thorough review, here is what we have found." Okay, so this is what Roblox has found. "There were no attempts to direct him to an off-platform communication method." Okay, that they were able to find. Okay, so again, all of this is a huge caveat that I don't know if they know for sure which one of these accounts out here all belong to Thomas, because according to his mom, he had several Roblox accounts that she did not know about until after he went missing. Roblox said Roblox said and reported publicly that they also found there was no sharing of off-platform contact information. So on the accounts that they were able to find associated with Thomas, there was no, "Hey, here's how to contact me off of Roblox." All chat content was consistent with typical in-game discussions. And I'm like, release the chat logs at this point. I want to see I want to see if we all agree on that one. And there was no indication that he ever used voice chat, which is like where he could have been talking. They said Roblox, he didn't use that. There's no indication he ever even used that. "We are holding Thomas and his family in our hearts. God forbid they do a prayer. And we hope for his safe return. We will continue to provide our full support to law enforcement throughout their investigation. We are committed to safety. For anyone interested in learning more about these safeguards and how to talk to kids about internet safety, please visit their website." Okay, well, that's interesting. Let me see. Okay, there. January 12th is when the missing person announcement, press release. Okay, I did this. I'm just going through my list here of things I wanted to show y'all about this story. So even though it was first being reported that the detectives themselves had informed the parents that apparently like there perhaps was an attempt to meet someone off of Roblox, the police are now walking that back. They're saying we did subpoenas, we did search warrants, and there's actually no proof of that. So, I mean, I don't know why that was allowed to circulate like that. I think that there is probably more to it than that. And I want to go to the Chris Hansen interview with the mom because she does give some information here.
Enacted age verification and some other security measures, but whatever they put into place.
Sorry, I'm just getting this set up. Yeah, it is similar. I was seeing that earlier. It does kind of remind me of Sebastian Robbins. It does kind of remind me of that Sebastian Rogers case. He was 15. Parents said he wasn't playing games online, but then it came out that him and his dad did play Roblox. Nina said, I don't trust Roblox to investigate himself or themselves. Smar Agda said, I still believe he met someone on there. My son has been off school all week here in Pennsylvania. Yes. If y'all are unfamiliar with 764, and especially particularly if you have children in your life, I would absolutely implore you to familiarize yourself with what 764 is. Okay. Jen said, didn't the mom give an interview saying the Roblox comment came from a classmate, that he told a classmate these plans? We're about to watch right now a few minutes of this interview with Chris Hansen where I think she does talk about it. I'm going to speed this up, and I'm also going to share the link here in the live chat. So if y'all want to go and watch this video yourself, you can go and watch it. It's on Chris Hansen's YouTube channel, Breaking Teen Missing Since Roblox Meetup. And this came out yesterday. It premiered yesterday. This is the description. On this urgent special episode, have a seat with Chris Hansen. He is joined by Eva Yan, the mother of Thomas Medlin, who's been missing since January 9th. 15-year-old Thomas of Long Island was seen on CCTV footage at Grand Central Station at 5:30 the same day. His cell phone was later found in Lower Manhattan. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that would be very interesting, because then that would mean that the cops maybe did have his cell phone. But all the problems that I outlined with them being able to ascertain for sure whether he talked to somebody from Roblox still exists, because he could have deleted Discord or deleted whatever social media account, and the cops would literally not have any way to ever access those messages ever. Like, there's no way to do it. That's, again, like I said, something that has been coming up in the Blake Lively case, where, you know, there were conversations that happened on Signal. The Signal messages were deleted, and then you can never get them again. They're just gone forever. The Suffolk Police Department believes Thomas went into the city to meet someone that had been communicating with, according to his mother. This is completely out of character for him. He's intelligent and talented. Everyone be on the lookout for Thomas, share his photo, and contact the police. Okay, so let's just see. I'm going to speed this also up to 1.25, and I may end up speeding it up to 1.5, depending on what it's like, but I got the captions on. So let's just hear a few minutes with pauses and stuff. If you want to hear this without pauses, you want to hear this without my commentary, then there's a whole video online where I'm not even talking in it, and it's that one right there. So you can go watch that. But this is my opinion and commentary channel.
Breaking into our regular schedule here on Have a Seat with Chris Hansen, because there's an important breaking story that you all need to know about. As you know, I've talked about this many times here, and we've interviewed guests about this topic. We are investigating the gaming platform ROBLOX, because of the hundreds and actually thousands of cases, tens of thousands of cases we've come across where young people have been groomed on the platform and sometimes abused by predators. There's a case developing in New York, out on Long Island in Suffolk County, that we need your help with. A young man, 50-year-old Thomas Medlin, has been missing since January 9th after having a discussion on Roblox with someone after telling people in his circle of friends that he was going to meet this person that he initially met on Roblox.
Okay,
His
after
family is-
telling people in his circle of friends that he was going to meet this person from Roblox. Okay, let me pull up the transcript. As you know, we talked about this many times. We've interviewed guests on this topic. Case developing out of New York. Has been missing since January 9th after having a discussion on Roblox with someone after telling people in his circle of friends he was going to meet this person that he initially met on Roblox. Okay, that's what was said here by Chris Hansen. Consider the source.
You can imagine, beside themselves. And it's important that we and you, as my viewers and my team, do everything we can to help in this situation. Eva Yan is Thomas's mother, and she's kind enough, brave enough to sit with me now. Eva, thank you for joining me here and having a seat.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
What is the latest? What do we know about where Thomas might be and where he was last seen? Bring me up to speed here.
Based on the latest update this week, Thomas was still information from Friday, the day he was missing. He was spotted on Cherry Street and Roddick Street. That was the last pin of the phone.
And that's in Brooklyn, correct?
That's in the, that was in the Manhattan Bridge, in the Lower East.
So
Manhattan.
the last pin on the phone, or I don't know if it's pin or ping, but the last known location of the phone was right near the Manhattan Bridge on the Brooklyn side.
And as soon as, in that neighborhood after the Manhattan Bridge.
Got it. So after that, theoretically, he might have gone to Brooklyn or stayed in that area. We're not quite.
Yeah, we are not sure at this time.
What do we know about Thomas's activity on Roblox? As I mentioned, and as you know, Roblox is...
So now he's like, what do we know about the Roblox? Okay, we're going to get into the Roblox of it all.
Become a place where predators can target young people. And on the surface, Thomas doesn't look like somebody who is vulnerable, somebody who would be a young man who would get in trouble like this, because he's smart. He goes to a great school. He's had world experiences with his family. What do you know about this person he might have been communicating with on Roblox?
So Thomas, like you said, he's very intellectual, smart. Since he was a baby, the first book we bought for him said, "Don't talk to strangers." We have been talking to him, said that, unknown, very dangerous. Even
this mom said the first book I ever bought for this child was called "Don't Talk to Strangers." She's like, ain't nothing I did over here that messed him up like that. He should have known not to talk to strangers. I don't know why this is out of character for him. The first book I ever bought him was called "Don't Talk to Strangers."
Like say 10 years old, 15, so maybe 50, 60. So we have been telling him nonstop. And he's a very smart. Sometimes when I'm walking with him on the street, he would tell me sometimes, say hi to strangers, say hello. And he would stop. He said, "Mom, you don't have to be that friendly when you don't know somebody." That's my boy.
She would tell his mom, he would tell his mom, "Stop talking to the strangers on the street and telling them hello. You don't have to be nice to people. You don't know them people. Don't be nice to them." She said, "That's my boy." That's how he was. He wasn't just going to meet strangers. Like, if anything, she's kind of like making a stronger case that he didn't meet somebody on Roblox, because she's like, he don't talk to strangers. He tells me not to even talk to strangers. So did he go to meet a friend? This is a question. This is a question. Did maybe he actually get, perhaps into some trouble with some kids from his school, and they're trying to blame it on Roblox? Oh yeah. Mrs. Yan, he was going to meet some people from Roblox. Yeah. You never know. I don't know. I'm just asking questions. We don't know.
Asia, Canada, everywhere. So he's smart enough, but he's a teenager. End of the day, he's not fully matured. He's going through puberty. He's going through stress from school, from all this, he has expectation on him. So that's something maybe I don't know who's out there. Maybe say, "Oh, I can support you, going through the stage." I'm not sure. But from what we know, Thomas, he's smart enough. That's why I was shocked when he told people, say, I met somebody through Roblox. I'm going to meet this person. That was a shocking to me and his dad, my husband.
Now, what did you know, Eva, about his activity on Roblox? I mean, obviously, this is a game that is geared and marketed to children as young as 5. It's wildly popular with tens of millions of of children going to this gaming platform every single day. Were you aware of his activities? Did you know what he was doing? Did you have the parental controls set up?
So I don't know any activity in Roblox. The first time when he set up Roblox, when we bought his phone, we hold the phone until the age 2 years ago. He didn't have iPhone.
So she said she didn't even have Thomas didn't even have a phone. He didn't have a phone until 2 years ago when he was 13. And it was because the teachers and, people at the school were saying, like, your son, if he's going to be staying after school, if he's going to be having these practices, going to be doing this and that, you need to have him a phone so he can communicate. And so she finally got him a phone when he's, 13 years old or so. And she said he does not have any social media, not allowed to have social media. She said, but he did ask if he could set up a Roblox account, and I did let him. She said, however, I made him set it up under my name and my email address. And she said, shout out to Steffi in the chat. Steffi said, I'm sorry, something in my spirit, something's up with this lady, this parents, allegedly. I'm just saying, it could be. I mean, what I will say, Steffi, from just where I'm sitting right now, from the spectator stands, the spectator section over here, it does seem like something's not adding up, with the transparency of it all. It's interesting that this whole thing about the detective, it's interesting to try to find out exactly the source of this Roblox rumor, because it's easy to blame Roblox if Roblox really truly didn't have nothing to do with it. It's oh, look over there. Oh, it's predators from Roblox. That being said, he's running from his school. Who's he running from? And it was on a Friday afternoon. I did also see, I don't know if it's on this video or a different interview. I have watched a few interviews of this lady at this point, but I did also see her saying, again, it could be in this interview, but she's like, if I could tell him anything, it would be just, please come home. You're not in any trouble. We just want you to come home. You won't be in any trouble. We're not going to be mad. So it does kind of make me wonder, was he in trouble? Was he in some type of something with his parents where there already was a wedge driven between him and his parents at that time? 15 years old for girls and boys, but from what I understand, especially for boys, is the time, the most intense time up till that point that they're bucking against their parents. They're starting to feel like, young men, and they don't want to be told what to do, especially don't want to feel like they're being babied, coddled. And so 15 years old is a kind of milestone age for boys with their parents, girls too. These are things that cross my mind for sure. Steffi said the statements are very coached, or maybe ChatGPT helped. Well, see, I noticed that too, Steffi Weffy. And what it felt like to me was that this guy right here, Chris Hansen, he has kind of his talking points because he is rallying against Roblox. So he's already got his kind of built-in Roblox points because he's already working in the, behind the scenes and in front of the scenes against Roblox. So it's the questions do seem very check the box. Did you have the parental controls set up? And she's like, yeah, I had them set up. I had it set up to my email, but unbeknownst to me, he was able to set up 4 new other Roblox accounts that I never had any idea about. That finds me interesting. Amy said, my daughter was targeted on Roblox. A lot of people's kids have been, y'all. Okay, let me see if I can just fast forward it through. I already told y'all about the parental controls or whatever. Her whole point in this section right here is she had it set up as secure as she could, but basically he was able to make other accounts that she didn't even know about.
Under this account, since it was a new email set up, anything, I would think something will come to me, I would be notified. No, nothing. Everything the dust, everything, no information whatsoever. Until this time happened, it was 5 Roblox account. I was shocked. I still think it was a new Roblox account nobody even know about. So that's what I'm aware.
Well, kids are tricky, and they don't see the danger in front of them, especially at the age of 15. We know young men don't fully mature until they're 25. So a smart kid at Thomas's age is crafty, and he doesn't see the danger in doing this. He thinks it's an adventure.
Yeah, because what happened, so my son also, he is smart. He doesn't use any social media. He doesn't use this TikTok. He doesn't even use much Snapchat. He was the one who told me, said, Mom, you got to be careful with social media because when you go to college is going to check on all this social media. What you randomly speak, it's not right. He was the one who talked to me like that. I said, you're so smart. I said, Mom is not a social media. I don't have a Facebook. I don't have any social media usage. I only use Chinese WeChat, but I know my friends. That's what I'm using. And also, I have control of his phone every night. Every night before he went to bed, by 10:30,
So she has control of his phone every night. She said every night she would actually look at his phone. And on the one hand, I can see how that's good parenting, you know, making sure what your kids are doing online. Because she was saying, I didn't even want him to have a phone. The teachers of the school made me get him a phone, basically. She's like, but I would be going over. I'd be looking at it. So on the one hand, yeah, okay, good parenting. But on the other hand, as you know, these kids are coming of age, I could see how that would maybe perhaps feel invasive or frustrating for the kid, which, oh, well, too bad, get over it. You're the kid, I'm the adult, I'm the parent, you're the kid. But like, you know, these are just like things I'm considering when trying to figure out why he ran from school on a Friday afternoon and ended up in Manhattan 2 hours away and then presumably off a bridge in the middle of the winter before a huge blizzard. What was he running from? And who was he running to? Or what was he running to?
I don't think so. I think there's more out there. I mean, police officer, you know, detective have been very active in looking for information, mentioning that there's something really disturbed me during this investigation. I know detectives also have been very active working on it day and night. I mean, I thank them from my heart. But during this process, it has been extremely difficult, even for the law enforcement, get the required information like from Discord, even from like a Brawl Star, you know, from ROBLOX in the beginning, from the phone company like a Minko, took them for weeks to get the information. Even the subpoenas have been submitted.
It is a little bit difficult to understand exactly some of the words she's saying. I don't know if it's like, you know, just maybe the mic or whatever, but did she say mint? She meant mint. Ryan Reynolds' phone company. She said one thing. She's like, the detectives, I appreciate the detectives so much. Thank you so much. But even with their help, we have not been able to get the chats from Discord. We have not been able to get the chats from, what'd she say? Broadstar. I don't know what that is. She said something about she said Discord. She said something about the phone company. And she's like, I try to get it on my son. And she's like, I can't get them. Even with the cops doing subpoenas and stuff like that, they can't get them. So it has been very, very difficult. It's been very, very difficult for her to get information from the social media sites. That's what she's kind of saying here.
Far, so the two still out there for the law enforcement to get the information. One is the Discord, one was the Brawl Star. The subpoenas was submitted on the 14th. As of today, 28th, the detective have not received any information, critical information.
ROBLOX has said that it's taken a look at Thomas's accounts, or the accounts that they're aware of. And ROBLOX has said that they find no evidence of any inappropriate communications, no direction to go offline to another site like Discord, and no conversations that are outside of the normal gaming conversations. Do you trust ROBLOX, given everything that's happened on that platform?
For my heart, I don't, because if everything's like as I said, they should have a security feature monitoring. He's only 15. He played way before this. How could he was able?
So this is a interesting proposition. Pyrex said he probably had his laptop with him, so then his family wouldn't know what was happening. Someone said there's a self-deletion attempt about every 3.5 days from that bridge. The safety guard is pretty low.
Control, no security feature has been put in place to inform the parent, you know, what this kid is doing, why he needs to set up 5-6 different accounts. That was my first, doubt. Why needed to be. And also some of his friends wasn't even playing with him a year already in ROBLOX. They've been friends, playing for so long. Why we couldn't be able to know, like a year later, he's still playing ROBLOX, but we don't know the account.
We've been investigating ROBLOX for months, and recently ROBLOX has enacted age verification and some other security measures, but whatever they put into place didn't work in this case. And this is a recent case.
Yeah, well, I listen, I am as anti Roblox practices as the next person. All right. I've made many, many videos about it, and even one on BJ Investigates. I think they need investigated. They need to be looked into. That being said, I don't necessarily think personally that it's like fair to say, oh, well, apparently Roblox's, age verification measures didn't work in this case. Cause it's like, y'all just acknowledge that there's really actually no evidence that he did meet someone off Roblox. So I do think, we should hold Roblox accountable for stuff that we can absolutely hold them accountable for. Cause there's a lot. There's a whole lot that Roblox actually did and actually does that I think is criticism worthy. But in this particular case, I think it's unfair and actually just factually not, I don't know if it would pass muster that Roblox age verification settings had anything at all to do with the disappearance of this child. I mean, I just try to stay fair as I can over here.
What I went through, trying to break into his Roblox account with all the officer detective. They even create the account, trying to block into the themselves. And it has
Alexander Khan, it is something that, yeah. Okay. So basically short answer, yes. Alexander Khan said, do you think he felt suffocated by his mom and her constant monitoring of his phone and all that? It's possible. Now, again, like I said earlier, that doesn't mean that she was wrong for doing it. I think she was probably just trying to do the best she could because it is scary out here with all these Roblox this and Travis Scott that. I'll say that, so it is possible that he was like, I'm 15 years old now. I'm in 9th grade, 10th grade, whatever it is. And I just can't handle it. I need to be, able to just live free. Maybe he was going to play games with somebody. Maybe, I don't know what was in that bag he was carrying. But I can imagine if my mom took my phone every single night when I was 15 years old and was actually opening it up with the password and looking at it, I might feel like, okay, at some point, am I going to be allowed to have some type of freedom? Am I going to be able to have some type of privacy? It's basically the extreme equivalent of no door on your room forever, no door on the bathroom. At some point, I do think kids should be given a little bit of privacy, but at the same time, I can absolutely see where this mother was coming from on why she would want, hello, look where things ended up. So maybe it was just a natural response for her to say, oh, it must be somebody he met online. Could not be. He could have met somebody anywhere. He could have not met anybody. He could have just been, listen, it doesn't make sense that he just ran to the train station to get on the train and go to New York and the last place he's seen on a bridge. There's something we're missing here from the story, I think for sure. Without more information, I don't think I can really make a personal, opinion statement too far beyond that.
There was no centralized place under Thomas Medlin. With one of the key stuff as a parent, we know if you come to me say, all right, Thomas Medlin, there's one ID, doesn't matter what he did, what account he set up. If you come to the parent, if we need the information, we'll be able to spot him easily. That wasn't the impression at all. We were not trying to find out another account we would know. Detective will ask me, and another thing we can be provided was searching the wild goose. That was definitely the impression.
Are you satisfied with what Roblox has done so far to help you find Thomas?
From my heart, I'm not, because I work in a corporation, so I know there's probably a lot more to can investigate, so we can look deeply more, maybe to overlook something.
So Chris Hansen's are you satisfied with what Roblox is doing? So she's kind of said she is satisfied with how the detectives have handled the case. She's like, but these social media platforms, they won't give me the information I need to find my son or to find out what happened to my son. He's like, all right, so the detectives, you're all right with the detectives and the law enforcement, but what about Roblox? Are you satisfied with how they have investigated the situation? She said, no. In my heart of hearts, no, I'm not. I think they could be doing more, and I don't think they're doing everything that they can to protect my son, to help me find out what happened to him.
Deeply further, because I have a missing child. I think if they have people in the company regional find out Roblox, they will do it now more than this. That's my hard feeling.
What have Thomas's friends said to you about this? What
I was informed from the detective, said he spoke to somebody from school, said, I met somebody, through Roblox, a friend, and I want to meet this person. And I believe this person told, told Thomas, don't.
I was reading y'all's comments. I think this is the story right here about why she thinks it was Roblox. I rewinded it 20 seconds. Let me see what she said.
But not more than this. That's my hard feeling.
What have Thomas's friends said to you about this? What
I was informed from the detective, said he spoke to somebody from school, said, I met somebody, through ROBLOX, a friend, and I want to meet this person. And I believe this person told Thomas, say, don't go, it's not safe out there. You got to watch out. That was all after.
Okay.
I wasn't informed.
So this is very, very hearsay. All right. So we're not in a court of law. We're just doing an interview as an analysis and reaction to an interview. Actually, I mean, the mom's doing an interview, but she said this is the story as far as in this interview what she says happened. She told Chris Hansen that she got this information from a detective. Okay, secondhand information already. And the detective had spoken with someone from the school. Now, I'm presuming someone from the school means Thomas's friend. So someone from the school said to the detective, Thomas was going to meet someone in person in New York City. And it was someone who he had met on Roblox. Apparently, allegedly, according to this detective, the friend told Thomas, don't go. You don't know who these people are. You don't know this person from Roblox, and don't go meet him. Don't go meet her. Could it be her or him? I don't know. And the friend is like, oh, detective, I told Thomas, don't go. And now the mom got that story from the detective. So it's kind of like hearsay. She didn't hear it directly from the friend, but this is, what she's saying. So we kind of started this video with one question. We had a few questions, but one of the questions we started this video with was, why does the mom think it had something to do with Roblox? Well, apparently because the cops told her that it did. And why did the detective tell her that? Well, it was because somebody told him or her. Somebody from the school said, Thomas said he was going to go meet somebody that he had made contact with on Roblox. And I told Thomas, don't do that.
And he did ask me before the New Year, even after the New Year, he was looking excited to go to Times Square. And I was wondering, I said, who told you about the Times Square? He said, my friend. And we brought him to the city when he was young, for watch all the Broadway show, all these lights. And I said, sure, I said, I will bring you. But he was excited. And I was thinking backwards, because, I talked to my family, friends, detectives. They said that maybe he trying to get familiar with the train stations, the subway, because he has never taken a train, he never took a subway by himself until the whole thing. Never. Because he's always next to me, next to my husband. Never left us on the side.
Okay, first of all, what in the freaking straight from Germany hell is this dad? Okay, so shout out to the German cousins in the chat. So she said he's never been on a train. He's never taken a train and he's never had to use the subway systems. He's always, for 15 straight years, been right up under the mom or the dad. People are saying feel like it was blackmail. He might have just been trying to go to Times Square. I don't know how he would have ended up off the side of a bridge though, if that's what they're trying to say. Tell me that don't look like a German. He looks German.
So as far as we know, he leaves your town on January 9th and he takes the train to Grand Central. And what do we know from there?
Based on all the investigation, he took the train to, first of all, arrived in Jamaica. And then he asked one of the students from Stony Brook School how to get to Grand Central. That's the first time he went to Grand Central. I never took him to Grand Central Station.
Oh, wait, I missed something reading y'all's comments. Hold on.
First of all, arrived in
town on January 9th, and he takes the train to Grand Central. And what do we know from there?
Based on all the investigation, he took the train to, first of all, arrived in Jamaica. And then he asked one of the students from Stony Brook School how to get to Grand Central. That's the first time he went to Grand Central. I never took him to Grand Central Station. So when he went to the Grand Central, and he was still smart in the camera because he was asking two.
Okay. We're actually getting a lot more information. She said he took the train from the Long Island Railroad, and I guess apparently there were other kids from his school on that train. Maybe, it is ambiguous. Maybe she means he texted somebody who went to his school, but she said he was on the train from his school to Grand Central. And he asked one of his friends from his school, how do I get to Grand Central Station? And they told him. So then he, switches trains or whatever he has to do to start making his way to Grand Central. And she said he was still smart, even though I had never taken him to Grand Central Station. We had never gone that route as far as I know. She said he's on camera asking people how to get certain places here and there.
He was asking the people working the booth how to get to downtown Manhattan. And because I told him, when you're asking, if you want to take a train by yourself in the future, you don't ask strangers, you ask, the officers, you ask people working the station. That would be safer. He did that in the Grand Central. So he was taking subway 57 to get to subway. Finally, he arrived in Brooklyn High Street and on the subway. Then he got to the Manhattan Bridge. That was the latest information I was informed.
And what was the last conversation, Eva, that you had with Thomas?
Last conversation we had a multiple conversation throughout the time, but he was telling me, Mom, starting this week, Friday, I like to study more. I like to set up a new year. I will hang out with friends, you go to pick me up at like 9 p.m., maybe 11 p.m. I will let you know if I need to change the time. He said, I like to stay in the campus more, which I support that social, interaction. My boy, intellectually, he's very philosophical thinker, way above his age. So that's why he doesn't connect a lot with the peers, because he's like one side of his brain is almost like grow up, 20-some years old. He will have a 3-hour full conversation with a grow up, like face-to-face welcome. So I was really supportive of that. I said, that's good for you, Thomas. Childhood, to play with friends, go out dinner. So that was the conversation we had. And the day when he was leaving on Friday, he got up 5:30, which he never did.
So she said, okay, so the question, very good question, because I want to know what his relationship was like with his mom, and his dad, the last moments that we know about where he was and stuff like that. Like what, again, I keep asking, what was he running from? What was he running to? He ran to the train station. And so she's saying, well, in general, we had been talking, after the new year. It was only the 9th, the last time he was seen. So, in the first week of the new year, he was saying, Mom, I want to start staying at the campus a little later and hanging out with other people a little more and making relationships and connections with kids or whatever. Can you start picking me up around 9 o'clock? Can you start picking me up around, later at night, so I can have some type of, connection with other people and other kids. And the mom's like, yeah, I was like, cool. Yeah, I think that's great. She's like, he's kind of a nerd. He's kind of like grown up. Like he's always just wanting to talk to adults. And I find this is common with only children and with older children whenever the younger sibling isn't born yet by the time the older child starts talking. Like in my case, like I still to this day will almost rather hang out with a 65-year-old than, a 35-year-old. Like I've always been, and I'm 4 years older than my next youngest sibling. So it's like I was already talking for like 3 years. I started talking when I was like, 11 months old. I was having full conversations by the time I'm 1. And so, yeah, there was nobody else to play with. There was no one else to talk to. So like when my parents would bring me, of course, like at church and different Bible school and regular school, I was talking to people and friends, but like those first several years of your life, you don't go to school. And if there's not like other kids like in your house, you better figure out how to talk to the adults, your parents. You call my granny on the phone. And so I find this to be like common. I don't think that means you're like something's broken or wrong with you. I just think it's like how you grow up. So since it does appear like he is maybe an only child, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't make me think something's wrong with him. It doesn't make me think that, he was a weird kid because he talked to adults. This is a normal thing that happens. So, but he does seem also to be very bright. So, some of y'all be saying some wild and crazy stuff in these comments. Some of y'all do literally not know how to act. Mama didn't teach you no home training. Anyway, so hold on. And again, I don't know like exactly. She also seems very intelligent. This seems like a regular family from New York or whatever, I'm not going to say like, oh, maybe she's like saying stuff wrong or something. I mean, I think she has a pretty strong command over the English language. I mean, she's saying what she's saying. So.
So I was really supportive of that. I said, that's good for you, Thomas. Childhood, play with friends, go out dinner. So that was the conversation we had. And the day when he was leaving on Friday, he got up 5:30, which he never did. I also woke him up around 7. I wanted him to have good sleep. And that day he got up 5:30, was excited, was happy on his face, like there's something happy. And, went to school, we cooked the full breakfast, pancakes, and like that. I didn't say anything unsuspect that day, but looked happy, got up early.
So he was happy on the day. The last day he was seen alive, the last day he was seen at all, he woke up an hour and a half earlier than usual. He woke up at 5:30. Usually, she said, I would have to wake him up at 7 o'clock, and he's, dragging, and especially it's Friday. So he got up, he was happy. Yes, his school is a college prep school. Yes, in Louisiana, they call them lab schools, like Southern Lab or U-High. It's like the high school of the university. It's to prepare you to go to college. He went to a college prep type of school. Alexander said he was being sheltered too much. He needs to be given a little bit of leash. He needs to be given a little bit of leash. How do they know he talked to cops for directions? I imagine that this comes from surveillance footage inside of the Grand Central Station. They probably have just looked through the available surveillance camera footage and saw that he did ask cops, or maybe they even asked, any police officers if they interacted with him.
That day he got up extra early, you had breakfast together, he went to school, and you didn't see him after that.
No, and I was able to trace his phone. I found my location around 3:16, 17. He was by the school, by the tennis court, and I showed my husband, and I said, look at him, maybe he's playing tennis with his friend. He said he's a tennis player. Right. And I was excited. But hold on 2 minutes, around 3:16.
That day he got up extra early, you had breakfast together, he went to school, and you didn't see him after that.
No, and I was able to trace his phone. I found my location around 3:16, 17. He was by the school, by the tennis court, and I showed my husband, and I said, look at him, maybe he's playing tennis with his friend. He said he's a tennis player. And I was excited. But in 2 minutes, blink of my eye, I got a cup of water. He shut down the GPS. Yeah.
Okay. That is a very important detail. I'm putting that on my timeline. She said around 3:16 or 3:17. So about 15 minutes before he left school. 3:16 or 3:17. The mom says she tracked his location. And he was by the tennis courts at his school. She said in the blink of an eye, I went to get, and she showed the dad, look, there he is at the tennis courts. She said in the blink of an eye, I went to get a cup of water, and I looked to check his Find My location again, and he had turned the GPS tracking off. Okay, so this tells me a couple things. First of all, he was around the tennis courts. Second of all, around the time that he left school and ran to the train station, he was being tracked by his mom, which is allowed and legal. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with it. What I'm saying is this mom is demonstrating that she does track and check his location, even if he's supposedly supposed to be at school. She said, I saw him at the tennis courts. I was happy because I thought maybe he was playing tennis with his friends. But then it was only about 13 or 14 minutes after that, he got out of school and ran to the train station. So that is very important information to me. I'm going to let y'all listen to it again.
His phone. I found my location around 3:16, 17. He was by the school, by the tennis court, and I showed my husband, and I said, look at him, maybe he's playing tennis with his friend. He said he's a tennis player. And I was excited. But in 2 minutes, blink of my eye, I got a cup of water. He shut down the GPS.
Yeah. So he turned it off.
And I even asked my husband, oh, why did he do that? But he started doing that last year.
He started doing it
October,
last
November.
year in October,
And
November.
he said, I said, why did you turn off and find my location? He said, Mom, I said, if something happened, police not going to be able to trace your location. That's not smart. And he said, Mom, I'm in school. I'm safe in school. Why you need to track me? But he started doing that. He never did that before.
I do think I want to be very, very, very clear. Because look, half my reason for this platform is telling y'all, you gotta know what your kids are doing. Okay. I believe that strongly. And I know that you have the right to raise your kids however you want to raise your kids, within, limits. But all that said, I do believe that there is a natural rebellion that starts to kind of rise up in all human beings whenever we start going from child to adult. And I think, the first time you start kind of feeling like a young adult is around 15 years old. So she said, last year, 14 years old, maybe 15, he started being like, Mom, please, you're smothering me. Can you stop tracking me at school? What do you mean you didn't find my location on at school? Please stop. And I also think this mom, again, I am not trying to say she did something wrong at all. And when I have kids, I'm going to find my on. Now, that being said, I'm probably not going to be checking it at 316, and then 317, and then again at 320. I'm probably not going to be checking the Find My all day. You do have to give your kids a little bit of leeway here. But I think it was a situation, regardless of him going missing, outside and apart from him going missing, I think it was a situation that was starting to build up where he wanted a little bit more privacy, wanted a little bit to be more treated like a young adult. He's like, Mom, I'm at school. You're literally smothering me. Can you stop tracking me at school? And so he's like, you know what? F it. I'm just turn the Find My off whenever I'm at school. And she was like, I told him to stop doing that. And it kind of is I think a little bit a self-fulfilling, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because it's he turns the Find My off to try to start getting more privacy. Then she starts asking, why did you turn the Find My off? Which then to him would be a feedback loop because it would indicate, yeah, she is just tracking me all day and I feel smothered and tracked and surveilled like it's the freaking panopticon. Again, I think she has the right to do it, especially considering this is a minor child. But I can kind of see a feedback loop of distrust and fear kind of building up since last year. She said he started doing it last year where he would turn off his location sharing. At his age, they try to test limits. Some of y'all are saying. Somebody said I was doing way worse at 15. Well, girl, you don't know what he was doing yet. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
As to somebody who's never met him.
My Thomas is a very kind, respectful, and a wonderful boy. That's crossed everybody has met so far. That's why there's so many bombarded social media on him. When people found out Thomas, everybody was shocked, couldn't believe it. Everybody he interacted with all through now, absolutely devastated because he's such a kind soul. He's really beyond. When I think about him, I miss him so much. And he keeps telling me, Mom, I'm a wonderful boy. You just don't know. I know in your heart, you think it was a lot more better kids. He's like, he never loved us. Always go to school, come home, go to tennis, take piano lessons.
He never left us. Not he never loved us. I think that is the AI captions had mistranslated or transcribed that. But she said he always used to tell me, Mom, I'm a good boy. This is starting to feel like maybe there's some. I'm not saying the mom did anything wrong. I'm not saying she did anything wrong. I know that people are out here doing the best they can. Okay. But I think from what I've learned and from what I've researched about these online predatory groups, like the 764s and things like that, they do target kids that already have a fractured relationship with their parents, or that aren't going to tell their parents everything, or that come from vulnerable homes, or maybe don't have a lot of parental support, or maybe kids that are, sick of their parents and are feeling extremely smothered or whatever. She said he was a kind kid. He was a kind soul. I miss him so much. And he would keep telling me, quote, Mom, I am a wonderful boy. You just don't know. I know in your heart, you think it was a lot more better kids. Why on earth would her son have been telling her, I'm a wonderful boy. I know you don't think so, but I really am. It almost seems like she is now, better or worse, realizing that he was a wonderful kid or is, but why wouldn't they send a scuba team down? I mean, I don't know how cold. I don't know. I mean, it's below zero in some parts on that water. So, I mean, I don't know. Why would he need to reinforce that he is a great, wonderful kid? Right. Was somebody telling him he wasn't? Was his mom saying, I wish I had a better kid than you? I don't know. She's the one that made me start asking this, because she said he would always tell me, Mom, I'm a wonderful kid. I know you think there's other better kids, but I'm a good kid. Why would she be saying that? I don't know. Predators, Miss Tea Time said, predators also will create distance between the child and the parent. Absolutely.
And, we have a routine, and always by outside, sitting by this dining table here, doing his homework, and by the living room, we set up the fireplace. He never hide in his room, like very, looks like really a wonderful boy. And my friend told me he's another people's child. Always told me, extremely considerate, always think about you before himself. That's his problem. Never think about himself. And very smart. I maybe now showing directly from his grades, but he has half of him. I received a lot of compliments.
Very smart. Even that, right? Like, it may not show directly from his grades. Well, girl, what were his grades? Do we know what the parents do for a living? I do not. Alexander said she sheltered him too much, and that made even the smartest kids naive in some ways. Yep. She wanted him to stay like a 5-year-old. Maybe his mom made him feel like he wasn't good enough. God, I hope not. Tiger mom. What is that? Like a helicopter mom or something? Lee said, I think it's scary to be a parent in this day and age. Absolutely. I'm not even a parent, and I can see how it would be. She was doing the best she could. She was trying to protect him and keep him busy and safe, but maybe this was still too much. Thanks so much to Jenny for the $1.99 super chat. Appreciate your hard work, commentary, and opinions. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Like teacher, graduate from Harvard, say, what a wise, intelligent young man you had. What a good boy you raised.
Well, Eva, as a parent myself, even though my guys are older, they're adults now, I ache for you, because I can only imagine what these days have been like. And I'm with you. I pray for you. I hope that, we figure this out in a very positive way. If Thomas sees this or hears this, and this will get a lot of play on social media and a lot of people who are involved in the ROBLOX case, what is your message to Thomas?
Message to Thomas.
My message for him, from me as a mom, from dad, from everybody, from his Jie, Jin, I'm speaking Chinese because that's what I call my niece, his sister, his uncles in China, aunts in China, everybody from Canada that's all flying over today is, we deeply, deeply love him. He's a wonderful boy. And whatever he did, I'm not mad at all. Nobody's
Hold
mad
on.
at
I
him.
need to see what she said about Canada.
China, aunts in China, everybody from Canada that's all flying over today is, we deeply, deeply love him. He's a wonderful boy. And whatever he did, I'm not mad at all. Nobody's mad at him. We want him to come home and also send us a message. He's safe. Mommy only worry about his safety. If he's safe, Mommy understand fully what he's doing. If he need to take time to think through, sort things out, fully support. But I want him to be, safe.
So this part, I did pause halfway through, but I'm going to let y'all listen to the rest. This part right here is what made me first start to think maybe there was some tension going on between him and his mom, because this is the first time in the interview that we do get obvious emotion from the mom. And the first thing she says, Chris Hansen says, what would you say to your son? What, would you say to him? And she speaks as if he made the choice to run away. She says, I would tell him mom is doing everything she can to look for you and I'm going to rescue you. No, she's kind of speaks as though he ran away, and she knows it. She says, I'm not mad at you. Whatever you did, I'm not mad. Whatever you thought you had to do, I'm not mad. You're not in trouble. Just call me and let me know you're safe. And I'm thinking too, I don't know if Thomas was in 9th grade or 10th grade. I don't know if he was in AP or not. I don't know the status of his grades because the mom was sitting there acting like he wasn't making that good of grades. She's like, he was so brilliant, maybe his grades don't show it. I don't know if that's kind of like, my parents were not like a helicopter parent type parents, but they were strict. I mean, we had rules, we had standards. And they would kind of let me, I had a curfew, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and it ain't no 11:01. It wouldn't know 11 or whatever the time would be at the whatever it was. But the fact that the mom is saying whatever you did, whatever it was, the grades don't really show how smart he was. Again, like I said, my parents were not strict. They weren't themselves. They were not like, extraordinarily or are not, whatever, like that carrying that. Like I could have gone to LSU. I could have gone to Harvard. I could have gone to BRCC, the community college. Like it was like, whatever. It wasn't like you must make all A's. But when I bring home that report card and I would have all A's and a B, it was getting asked, what's the B for? What's this B about? It wasn't like, okay, you're grounded. You're, this basically might as well be an F. They weren't like that. Thank God. But I mean, I was mostly making A's, but like, I'm wondering, maybe some of y'all did grow up in households where it's like a B is basically an F. Does it make you feel like, what if you can't make that A? What if it's just, what if you have a learning disability? What if you have whatever? Like, does it build up a resentment between you and your parents? Also, around the time you're 15 years old, that's when you start thinking about taking the pre-SATs. You start thinking about where you're going to go to college. It's like this, it's a very important coming of age. And I do believe that it is important to know what was going on dynamically, between the parents and Thomas, because I do think that could inform not only what happened to him, but like more specifically, was that creating an opening of insecurity, division and isolation from his parents that then allowed some freak, some creep, some predator to wedge, a little foothold. I don't know. But I'm going to back up and let y'all hear what Alexander has a lot to say today. He said, absolutely. Oh, what did she say? Trust your kids until they give you a reason not to. Right. She didn't even say, I love you. I want you to come home. She spoke in third person, and that is distancing language. Interesting. That's what made me think of 764. This could also just be all her projection. She has absolutely no idea. Sleuthy Kitty. Yeah, same. She screamed. Oh, excuse me. I got screamed at about getting into uni, that's university, but I had undiagnosed ADHD and dyslexia. Oh my God, what a nightmare. My son doesn't drive. He's autistic, high functioning. He wouldn't. He's too afraid to right now. Hopefully he will eventually. He's away at college. I can't believe she's talking about grades at a time like this. Who really cares what his grades are at the moment? And that's why I brought it up. Even at this moment, she is very concerned about his grades. And it's a little bit of a backhanded compliment, if anything. She's like, he's very smart, even though his grades might not show it. It's like, let me see the report card. Because is it like 2 B's? Because like that's still very smart. Or is it like he's failing school? If he's failing school, maybe there was some tension. I don't know. But he's like, he's very, very smart, and maybe his grades don't show it. And I got to wonder, was he given a hard time about his grades? Because he was apparently telling his mom, I'm a good kid. I'm a good kid. I'm good. You say these other kids are such good kids. You should see these kids. I'm good. She's like, he was smart. Maybe his grades didn't show it. I felt like that was a little bit of it's almost like, to me, and my heart goes out to this lady, and I hope they find Thomas, but to me, it kind of gives an impression that there is a little tension in their relationship, and it's like her standards are just really high. And I don't know that Thomas, the only child, is or was living up to the standards of his mother. And I don't know, maybe his dad either. He's not really talking, right? They keep putting the mom out. But it's like the mom is like, his grades are like, okay. And she's indicating that they would have discussions where he would need to defend not only his grades, but like his value, right? Like, I am good. I am a good kid. I am a good person. you're talking about all these other kids. You don't even know about these other freaking kids. I'm good. Like, why was he put in a position to have to say that? It's questions that I wonder.
We deeply, deeply love him. He's a wonderful boy. And whatever he did, I'm not mad at all. Nobody's mad at him. We want him to come home and also send us a message. He's safe. Mommy only worry about his safety. If he's safe, mommy understand fully what he's doing. If he need to take time to think through, sort things out, fully support. But I want to...
If he needs to take time to think through, sort things out, I feel like this is all, this is a psychic vision, okay, a psychic prediction. I feel like the tension between him and his mom, or maybe him and his parents, is all stemming from college. I think there's a lot. This is just a feeling. This is just not based on evidence, but I feel like they've been talking about college a lot. He might want to go to away for college, or perhaps he's about to get his first, year of his first semester of grades, and it's like, you're not getting into Harvard. And if his mom's been talking about Harvard and Yale all this time and he ain't getting in, it's like, it's hard. It's very difficult to get into these schools, especially in high school, from high school, because what have you really done? I mean, you're 15 years old. What have you really done? But you got to start thinking about it. And he is and was thinking about college, because he would tell his own mom, you can't post this or that or the other thing on Facebook because they're going to find it when I apply it to college. I think there was a lot of college anxiety and tension. I think that he's either in 9th grade, which means that he just finished his first, half of a year, and maybe they're about to get progress reports or whatever. Or he's in 10th grade, and it's really like, all right, you're not going to be getting the GPA that you need to get into these fancy schools or whatever. And I do know a lot of parents who send their kids to these prep schools. They want their kids to go to Ivy League. They want their kids to go to these very, very, very high level schools. I feel like Thomas was feeling like he wasn't measuring up to what was expected of him. And I feel, based on the mom's discussion in this interview, like there was some disagreement between them. She was saying, you're a bad kid. And he was saying, no, I'm not. He was saying, stop tracking me. Why can't I just go to school without being tracked? She was saying, I need to be able to track. Like, there was tension, I think. And I wonder, when do kids take the SAT? Did scores for that just come out? Trilingual at 15, played piano at Carnegie Hall, athletic skier and studious. How else could he have gone wrong so young? And don't forget tennis. Don't forget tennis. He felt suffocated. Alexander, are you speaking from experience? You are saying you are like, no, I know what it is. Poor Thomas, my heart hurts for how he might have been feeling. And truly, like, what I will say, y'all, truly is, I don't know why the mom might have, or the dad. And if he is German, which is what his phenotype looks like, then, I mean, that's a whole nother thing. I mean, those parents are very strict on their kids too. Academics and stuff like that, and order and organization and hierarchy and following instructions. And I'm not saying that this mom did something wrong. I really am not. And I think probably most moms do the best they can. Now, if it ends up coming out at some point that this woman was like torturing him or evil or something, then I'll adjust my opinion. But as of right now, it does still appear to me, even if she was suffocating him inadvertently, I think she was probably trying to do the best she could. And I do think that, like, it's not that bad to, like, hope your kid gets into a good school and even pressure them for that and tell them that that's expected. But if she was saying mean stuff to him, like, you're a bad person and you're a bad kid, like, obviously I wouldn't be able to condone that. But we don't know what she was saying to him. All we know is what she's saying to us right now. And what she's saying to us right now includes that he was defending himself and his worth by saying, Mom, I know you think that, these other kids are so great, but I'm a good kid. And here she still is kind of taking digs at his grades. Like, it shows to me that she genuinely believes that his value as a person has to be tied to his grades. And she's like, it might not show it on his grades, so you got to believe me. He was a good kid. And she's like, whatever you did, if you need to take time to think about what? It just seems like they had been discussing college or future or something. It just seems like that had been a discussion. And the fact she kind of started crying at the moment where it's like, if you could tell him one thing, it's almost like maybe she's not happy with the last few things that they talked about. I don't know. I'm just speculating, and my heart goes out to this lady. I'm not saying she did something to him or anything wrong. But he might have felt suffocated nevertheless.
Whenever he's ready, tell us, we will pick him up. And we love him, especially mom. Loves him more than my life. I'm willing to God to exchange my life for my boy's safety with her. Just too many people love him.
So EIEIO said, God, I hope if my kid went missing, people aren't looking at me going, is she being weird? I'm sure TF I would be. Well, if you're being weird, then people are going to be looking at you going, you're being weird. So that's first of all. Second of all, I just want to remind y'all that we have the First Amendment in this country. And this story is international at this point. This is a missing child, actively missing child. So if your kid goes missing, and I hope it never happens, and your child is actively missing and there's really no leads and you're acting weird, then people have the right, and I think the duty and the responsibility to look into your motives and to look into how you're acting. So if anybody's kid goes missing and y'all do want to avail yourselves to the national media and go on Chris Hansen and go on News 12 and go on all these things, yes, your behavior is going to be up for public discussion because you've now availed yourself to the public and you now have asked the public for help. So, I mean, I don't even really I've gotten a lot of comments over the last couple of days about people kind of trying to tell me what I can say and not say because it might possibly hurt somebody's feelings. I don't live in a communist regime. I don't. Now, I know that is what they're trying to push it into being. And these kind of comments and stuff like this, I feel like it's kind of pushing us in that direction where it's we can't even tell our opinions anymore on the one person they're putting out here. The one person they're putting out here to talk about the story. She's the one saying these things. And so, I mean, yeah, if you go out in the public and you're saying my kid is really smart, even though his grades might not look like it. And I have to, he's constantly having to remind me that he's not a bad person. Then people might think, rightfully that there's something a little bit odd about that. And I think that's acceptable. And for sure, they have the right to say it.
He's loved. And his cat, he has a cat. He loves the cat. He adopted the cat. His cat has been on a home, looking for him every day by the door. She doesn't know what to do. So Thomas, please come home. Everybody loves you. Cat misses you. And you're not in trouble at all.
And Eva, what do you say to Roblox?
I really, as a mom, broken heart, going through everything like hell. I want the company, all the social media, like Broadstar, is called this kind of company.
What is
Broadstar?
Broadstar?
You business, but think about the humanity side of the business. You have to think about that's the human beings. Okay, make money is important, but think about so many families have kids. What the safety, what you can do. So why the kids can't play, enjoy, but the big side is humanity, care for people. That should be incorporated into your corporation. That's the whole message to all the family, to the world. You gotta, that's a part of your agenda. You got to be on your to-do list. That's something the top senior management or even the board. You don't just look for your business, your stock. You got to think about what the family going through, what's out there can take the kids, no safety. It's a nightmare for all the parents. You got to set up a security feature when you do anything. Set up the parental control until they're old enough to be on their own. That's my message to the company.
Eva Yan, we're going to do the best we can to help you in the meantime as a parent.
So we kind of have two many separate issues here. Roblox, which I'm not a fan. But Roblox is kind of taking a lot of heat here, but I'm not really sure that I personally so far have seen enough information or evidence that shows that Roblox did for sure have something to do with this. Now, that information's come from Roblox and the police, so Roblox has investigated itself and found that, they've done no wrong. I don't know if that's enough evidence at this point, but I don't think I've seen really any evidence other than like third-hand information. Maybe somebody at the school told a detective that the kid had met somebody on Roblox. He was going to go meet the person in New York, and then that detective told the mom. But then those same detectives have come out and said it actually doesn't seem like there's really any evidence of that. So then I want to know what kid at school said that and why. I'm going to look and see if there's any updates like in the last few hours. Doesn't look like it. It does seem as though what the investigators are preparing the public for is to let us know they do not believe he is any longer among the living. Now, that does seem to contradict what the mom said. I mean, she seems to think he's alive and well. And she's like, just come home, please come home, come back. Now, some people have speculated in the chat that that's because it's really difficult for parents to believe that anything could happen to their kids. Softest Heart said, yeah, she's putting the blame elsewhere. Somebody said, call Steve Fisher. Totally. Could be Roblox, could be Streamer Forum. They said they saw a splash, but they couldn't see what caused the splash. It's weird. It's definitely weird. And also, we're talking about Roblox. We're talking about parents. Can we talk about the school? AMP said, I'm suspicious of the school because it's a school where some kids board, like a boarding school. Autumn said, my sister took her kids off Roblox when she herself saw a very disturbing game on the kids' platform. How are they not shut down? I don't believe he's gone unless they actually find him. It doesn't make sense, but I keep wondering if she's saying World Star. Probably not. Yes, people are free to speculate. Absolutely. Was he bullied? I mean, was he bullied by that kid who told detectives that he met someone on Roblox when really the smell was coming from inside the school? Did the kids at school send him to Grand Central? I mean, the kids at school were the ones who told him how to get to Grand Central. He asked them. He's hiding. They're saying he's hiding. Scrutiny is expected, but best believe the police are looking far deeper. Did he really go? Or did his phone just go? Well, they're also saying that the police found his phone. They said that on the description box of the Chris Hansen video. So I don't know if that's true that they found his phone. If they found his phone, though, in Manhattan, what made the splash in the water? Could he have maybe gotten into the car with somebody? Let me. AMP. Telling his mom in 2026 he wanted to start staying later at school. Couldn't that be something having to do with a teacher at the school? Could be. Sounds like he might be a runaway, somebody said. I want to look up the pedestrian walkway. Okay. So I typed in pedestrian walkway, Manhattan Bridge, and this is what it shows. It's like, look, this is like a person walking, bridge trek, Manhattan Bridge. So it's not like on the same exact plane as where you would drive. So this is like the driving plane here. Like this is where I'm zooming in. It's like not letting me zoom in. Okay. No, this is, what is this? Walking the Manhattan Bridge. Let's just go to that website. Walking the Manhattan Bridge, pedestrian path, helpful guide, and map. So here's the Manhattan Bridge. When most people think of the bridge, first one that comes to mind, a bridge walk, the first one that comes to mind is the Brooklyn Bridge. While the Brooklyn Bridge is a must-do walk, in my opinion, the Manhattan Bridge walk is right up there when it comes to enjoying beautiful city views. This guide will dive into what walking the Manhattan Bridge is all about and how to do it to enjoy your time. Okay. Other bridges, okay. So it connects, it is one of 3 bridges that connects Manhattan to Brooklyn. The other 2 are the Brooklyn Bridge and to the south, and the Williamsburg Bridge to the north. The main reason Manhattan Bridge was constructed in the first place was because of overcrowding on the other 2 bridges. It connects lower Manhattan, the Chinatown neighborhood, to downtown Brooklyn, down under the Manhattan Bridge overpass. Okay, so from Chinatown to downtown Brooklyn, those are the 2 neighborhoods. It is 1.3, what? The total length of the bridge is over a mile long. It's a long bridge. The walk across should take about 30 minutes without any stops. The walking and biking lanes are separated on the bridge, with the pedestrian path on the south side overlooking downtown Manhattan and the bikeway on the north side. Okay, so here's the Manhattan Bridge walkway entrance. It can be walked in either direction from Brooklyn to Manhattan or from Manhattan to Brooklyn. Below are the entrance points. Okay, so the entrance from Brooklyn onto the pedestrian pathway. So I think he came from the Manhattan side. Remember, he was in Manhattan, so he's probably walking away from Manhattan. The entrance can be found on the corner of J Street and Nassau Street. Here you will find a small park named Manhattan Bridge Small Park that leads right onto the Manhattan Bridge walkway. As you're walking toward the entrance on the Brooklyn side, you should also see signs pointing in the direction there. So here is the Manhattan Bridge Small Park. You go into this park, and I guess here's the walkway. Okay, so here's the bridge. This is if you're driving, you would get on here. And then as you can see down here is the walkway right here. Okay. Manhattan Bridge entrance in Manhattan. So I think this is the one he would have gone to if, he walked from Manhattan. The entrance from the Manhattan side onto the pedestrian pathway can be found on the corner of Canal Street and Bowery. Here you will find the Manhattan Bridge Arch and Colonnade. On the south side of the arch, which is where you'll catch the pedestrian pathway to get yourself on the bridge. Okay, so here's the pedestrian path, and you would walk here. And this is where they have the girl, it's a portal. Okay, so as you can see, if what they're trying to say is that he, jumped or fell into the water from the pathway, it didn't happen when he first got on. It would have had to be after he was walking across the bridge for some time, because here's the water, the splash. Below is a map that shows both the Brooklyn and Manhattan entrances to the bridge pinned down, as well as the pathway that you follow as you make your way across. Okay, so this is kind of like the, oh shoot. This is like the, which one's Manhattan? This is downtown Brooklyn. Okay, so starting in Chinatown, you can get on the bridge and walk across for about 1.5 miles. And then you end up here in downtown Brooklyn, Brooklyn Heights here, Dumbo here, Wegmans, Brooklyn Navy Yard. So he would have had to be on this part if they're trying to say, he fell or jumped. Okay, so he would have been on this side, I think, walking this way, pedestrian path. And this is the East River. Okay, so if his phone was later found in Manhattan, then I don't know how they could have, maybe he didn't bring his phone on the bridge. Somebody said, did the phone actually make it onto the bridge? I want to know. But they said that according to cameras, he was not shown on cameras exiting the bridge. He was shown going on the bridge, but not leaving it. Unless you're staying within walking distance, I would recommend you make your way there by using the New York City subway system. It's cheaper than an Uber or a taxi and can also be faster. Manhattan side subway stations are Grand Station. Is that Grand Central Station? That would make sense. That's all starting to kind of add up. Since I hopped on from the Brooklyn side, I'll talk about the walk. Okay, so then the person goes into their walk. How long was he missing before it was reported? I don't know. Did anyone see this happen? Does anyone have a video? Well, they're saying that the cops are saying they saw CCTV and surveillance camera footage, but I mean, I didn't see it. If that's what I mean, I don't know who saw it, who didn't. You're not in trouble. Ark said his mom saying you're not in trouble never really feels fully reassuring. Hopefully he just ran away and it is safe with some friends. Hopefully so. Hopefully so. You know, I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping for the best. Well, I've been on here for 2 hours. I do want to do some updates on, I don't know if y'all knew this or not, but the Alexander brothers trial is underway. It's been going on since I think Tuesday. So I've been following it. Inner City Press is in there every day. So I'm going to come back soon, maybe today, maybe another day. I might wait till after today's proceedings are done, but some crazy stuff is going on in that trial right now. Zac Efron apparently was being used as bait to lure people into situations where then they would be drugged and SA'd. So I do want to update y'all with stuff that's going on in that trial. Apparently it could go on for as long as 2 months. So we'll be talking about that one. I also have some updates with Nick Reiner. Steve Fisher went on Jesse Weber. I have some things to say about that. I already told y'all about Rob Reiner checking into a mental health facility because of the outcome of an election. I have a few things to update y'all about David and then the Mayo Clinic trying to allegedly kidnap people and then a satanic PDF file ring that apparently the cops in Australia are a part of. So we'll talk about that and those things in the upcoming videos. Thank you so much to my mom, Amber, TSW, for gifting 5 memberships. If you're one of the people that got the memberships, do say thank you. Act like you got some manners and welcome to memberships. That's all I really had for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Neither are opinions. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. And I do hope for the best outcome in this Thomas Medlin case. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.